Billionaire Elon Musk has launched a hostile takeover of Twitter, valued at around $43 billion. So he is offering to buy the company and turn it private for about $54 per share. So I'll get to more of those details in a second here. And also I'll get to what this means potentially for Twitter and also Elon Musk and the companies he already owns and some issues right now that he's dealing with those companies. First here from The Verge, Musk's wealth hovers around $260 billion. According to Bloomberg, Twitter's market valuation is about $37 billion. Musk's offer values Twitter at about $43 billion, according to CNBC. Musk is offering to acquire all of the outstanding common stock of the issuer not owed by the reporting person for all cash consideration, valuing the common stock at $54.20 per share. The proposal was delivered in a letter to Twitter on April 13th. Musk says Twitter must go private to undergo changes that need to be made. So, first here, just to clarify something. So, Musk already owns a portion, as you may have seen already this week. He already owns a portion of Twitter. He rejected the offer to be a part of the board of directors, which would have limited his ability to own more stock, which then gave to this speculation that he may end up trying to buy Twitter outright, which now appears to be true. So he is quoted here as saying, "I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe. And I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy," said Musk in a letter sent to Twitter chairman Brett Taylor. "Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it." Well, first on this issue of free speech, this is a little ridiculous. This is the same guy that back in 2016 personally canceled a blogger's Tesla order after a rude blog post. This guy is so soft. He had to cancel this blogger's Tesla order because he was criticized in a blog post. So this is the kind of free speech person we're dealing with here. When it comes to actual free speech, Twitter has free speech, but it also has moderation policies. If you're going to, just put out pure hate speech, why should you be allowed in the conversations? Now, some may think it's perfectly fine that hate speech should be welcomed on these platforms. Well, to that I say, even if you think that, different countries have different laws and rules around hate speech. So Canada has hate speech laws. How would a quote unquote open platform that Elon Musk says he wants to have, how would that work in countries that have different restrictions when it comes to free speech? So there's a lot there that would have to be worked out to just have a completely open platform and not care at all. I mean, that invites paid trolls even more than that already exist on Twitter, but it invites more of that. It invites just conversations to turn into just pure, hatred and throwing insults back and forth. There's a reason why it is actually beneficial to have moderation on these platforms, for them to be moderated. Now, that doesn't mean, restrictions should be incredibly, high, or that any conversation that leads to any insult should be, restricted or that person banned. But it is to say that, hey, at least around issues like hate speech, maybe it's important to have these sorts of protections in place to be able to facilitate actual real conversations. And from the guy that, did this 6 years ago, I don't imagine this is the kind of person that's going to have, actual, any sort of standard when it comes to a principled free speech position. I'd be very curious to see if this does go through, how he would take criticism. I mean, can you imagine the man running Twitter, if that were to happen? Is he just going to sit back as people lob criticism after criticism at him? Or bring up legitimate issues that I'll bring up a bit here about, various lawsuits and that sort of thing? I mean, we're going to have to see how that plays out. Now, so Twitter's board of directors will carefully review the proposal to determine the course of action that it believes is in the best interest of the company and all Twitter stockholders. So from a purely business perspective, which is how they will likely look at this may be worth it for them. I mean, this is Elon Musk's offer is overvalued or valued more than what the company's actually worth. As I said, as I showed you in the original post here, so it's worth about 37 billion right now. His offer is about 43 billion. So in terms of just the financials, it may be worth it for them to do this. But ultimately, what will Twitter become if this were to go through? I think that's a question that a lot of us have to think about. And also, in terms of the right wing alternatives to Twitter right now that exist. Like, where are they going? Why doesn't he buy, a couple of those, or do something with those sorts of platforms? He's not going to, of course, because he cares more about the audience, more about the attention, more about already having a built-in, finished product, complete audience, as opposed to trying to build one from scratch. So that of course isn't going to be an option for him. But again, it goes to as well just the God complex that someone like this has. When you have this amount of money, and instead of, focusing on anything else, like homelessness, food shortages, whatever it is, you focus it on buying Twitter for your personal interest. It's just bizarre. But this I found interesting. So this is from 2015. Elon Musk gave advice to Jack Dorsey back then, who ran Twitter. Don't run two companies. Meanwhile, Elon Musk right now heads Tesla, SpaceX, The Boring Company, and Neuralink. But his advice to Jack Dorsey, don't run two companies. Well, right now, Elon Musk has several. And on that point, this offer here for Twitter is a great distraction from some of the legal issues that Elon Musk is facing right now. This is one of them. Elon Musk's Neuralink confirms monkeys died in project, denies animal cruelty claims. So there is right now a lawsuit over this. And in the process of that, they had to actually address the issues that were raised about abusing monkeys. So Neuralink is like a brain chips, basically. So they apparently tested these chips on monkeys and they died in the process. How you do not acknowledge that is obvious animal cruelty is beyond me. I mean, what else do you call that? It's clearly animal cruelty. So they're facing that right now. They're also facing a California lawsuit that says Tesla has faced hundreds of racism complaints in its factory. And this isn't like some empty lawsuit, because this has already happened. A jury ordered Tesla to pay $137 million to a former worker over racist treatment. Imagine having a company that is so racist that one person is awarded over $100 million because of that company's racism. So a decision like this is basically unheard of, going to show just the kind of insanity that is going on at Elon Musk run companies. So Twitter, what's Twitter going to be like if it becomes private, if it turns into this sort of work environment like this? These are all questions that obviously, we're too early in the stages here to really have any grasp on. But I don't know. We're going to have to see where this all goes if the board of directors accepts this offer, which ultimately, as I said, I think financially, if you're just looking at this purely from a money perspective, would in the short term probably benefit them. But if that goes through, what's Twitter going to look like in, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Who knows?